If the world was perfect and you didn't need money, what would you do for a living?
You trading your stuff or new stuff?
I was 17 when I was asked this question. I was 17. My father asked me that. And I was baffled. I was like, why is he asking me this? And then I realized it's because he tried to teach me a really important lesson, as most Latino fathers try to, right? They try and teach us a couple things. And what I learned from that question is that I really need to speak to my spirit and really ask myself what it is I want to do with my time and my life, because that sets the future for you. So does an education, and that's why you're here today, and that's why I'm here today, because I want to share my story with you. So I'll introduce myself, tell you about my life, my experience, so you guys can connect with me and not just be like, who's talking here, right? My name is ZEAHLOT Lopez. I'm Latina. I'm 30 years old. I'm a business owner. I'm a psychotherapist. And I was a barber for 5 years and a hairdresser for 10. Yeah. I speak Spanish. And I love working with la comunidad. I love working with Latinos, because that's my people. We might have similar stories. It might be different. I'm not really sure, but we'll find out, right? I grew up in a family where we weren't really sure if we would be making the bills the next month. My parents came to this country illegally for a better life, to give their children better opportunities for an education, to do what it is that they want with their life. And that's what built my hustle. Because since I was a little girl, my parents told me, you better work hard. You work hard, and you go to school. Because that's on you. That's going to be your choice. That's going to be your future. So early on in high school, I was bored. I was like, man, I don't want to go to art. I don't want to go to photography. What is this? So I looked at the ROP, the Regional Occupational Center Program. And I saw the options, right? And it's funny how life works. I actually originally signed up to become a florist, to build the flowers that look nice, right? And a week before class started, my senior year in high school, they canceled the class. The teacher quit. And I was like, what am I going to do? So then I saw beauty school as an option. I was like, I could do this. I could do some perms. I could do some highlights. So I went and I was like, nah, it's not a thing. You know, I'm just going to try it out, see what's up. Well, I actually really liked it. I loved it. I love the gossip. I love the girls talking together. I like the dudes coming in like, yeah, I'm going to get fresh. I got a date this weekend. You know, when you're fading them up. And I liked it. So then I thought, okay, I have this opportunity. Opportunity. This is the key word. My school, my high school offered me to pay it 100% if I finished within my senior year. So that meant I couldn't turn up, I didn't go out on the weekends, and on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m., I went to school. I went to beauty school to finish my hours. That meant my senior year, instead of going out with friends to the mall, kicking it, nope. I had to study my books so I could pass that exam. So when I was 18, I passed the licensing exam as a hairdresser. I was stoked. I was so excited. Why? Because I didn't have to work at Target. I didn't have to work at Subway. I could do something I loved. Here's where things got really interesting. My parents, they told me, Z, that's great. We're proud of you. But you need to have a plan B. Plan B. Plan B, what is that? Why should I have a plan B? I'm set, I'm good. I'm gonna be a hairdresser, I'm gonna fade up, I'm gonna do some highlights. But you see, the thing is, you never know where life will take you. Or maybe one day your body doesn't work anymore. Your mind still has to work too. So I went to college. And that's the thing, you see, because in high school, I was a good student. I had really good grades. And I applied to colleges just that's what you do, right? That's what they tell you to do. You go to school, you go to college, then you work, then you have some kids, you get married, right? That's the track, but it's not the track for everybody. You see, here's the interesting thing, because when I started beauty school, a lot of my teachers told me, they're like, you're wasted talent. Why would you go to a trade school? Go to college. I heard them, but my heart didn't hear them because I knew that I loved it. It was fun for me. It spoke to my heart. But I understood where they were coming from. They were coming from a place of fear, of not knowing anything else. I stand here before you today and tell you this, that it doesn't matter if you want to go to college, if you want to go to a trade school, become a mechanic, become a carpenter, whatever it is you want to do, that's your choice. You have that option. And success is not determined by you finishing a college degree. It's determined by your hustle, by your determination to finish what you started. So I go to college, and then it hits me. Yikes, this is expensive. I don't know if you guys know, but tuition has gone up 300% since the time I graduated high school, by the time this classroom will graduate. 300%. That means that it's the next thing to crash. Like the housing market, that crashed. Student debt is at its all-time highest. 1 out of 3 people you will meet that go to school, that go to college, they go to a trade school or some type of advance in education, they will be in debt because of that. That's why it is so important to speak to you guys today to really do what it is you want. Because if you're going to drop some coins, please let it be on something you love. Because otherwise you're going to be in debt and you're going to hate your job. Not your career, a job. I have met very, very many successful people in my life. Doctors, lawyers, accountants. But see, that's the misconception there. Because they might not be successful. They might have a job, but that's not their love. They don't even like it. When I ask them, how do you feel, Dr. So-and-so, saving lives, changing hearts? It's okay. Well, my dad told me I should be a doctor. My mom said I should be a nurse. Our parents tell us a lot of things because, for the most part, they love us and they mean well. They want us to do good. They want us to do better than they did. But the error I find with a lot of what they're sharing is that they're coming from a place of fear. They don't know nothing else. Most people, I'm not saying all, and if it's not you, excellent, I'm happy for you. But most people come from a place of fear of work hard, and then you die. And that's it. There's no enjoyment in between. Nobody really stops to ask if money was not a thing. If you didn't need to pay bills, don't worry about money. What would you do with your time? And that's why I am here to talk to you today, to have you guys think about that. What am I good at? What do people compliment me on? Like, man, that's excellent. Look at you. You did that really good. It feels good when people praise us, but it feels even better when we know ourselves. That's why I am sharing my journey with you, my story. And I didn't come from money. Trust, I grew up hood. I grew up hood to the point where one day I remember going to Burger King with my mom and my little sister. And my mom goes in her purse and she scrounges at the bottom of her purse to count her coins and pray that she has enough for 2 Happy Meals and not just 1. I grew up in a 2-parent home. And that scrounging, that praying to make sure we were all right, was not because my parents weren't united or didn't love each other, but because we were poor. That's just the way it was for us. When I looked around at people for role models, nobody had my tone. Nobody had a year-round tan like me. When I was a little girl, when I was in school, I was put into ESL, English as a Second Language. I didn't need that. I spoke English just fine. I spoke Spanish too. And because on my paperwork, because it said Spanish and English, Spanish spoken at home, I was put into this class and pulled out. That didn't make really any sense to me, but yet here I am today. It built me. It's who I am. So let's go back to the college years, right? So I'm in college, and I'm doing what I need to. You know, you take your general education, take this class, take that. This should work for you. And then one day, I take a psychology class, Psychology 101. Man, it spoke to me. It rocked my world. I was so excited. I went home and I read half the book. Ain't nobody do that, right? I loved it. And I was like, what is this? And it was familiar and strange at the same time because I felt the same thing when I was in beauty school. And I was doing someone's hair and I was like, man, this feels good. You know when something's right and you know when something is not working for you. People will talk to you all day long. You need to do this, you need to do that, be right, be okay. You need to know what works for you, what your story is going to be. How do you want to impact the world and your family? I don't know about you guys, but I definitely know that other people younger than you look up to you. What are they doing? Little cousins, little siblings. And if they see you rocking it, they're going to want to do the same thing in their own way. I want you guys to think about the role models you've had. What do the most important people in your life tell you? What do they show you? Here's the thing. Actions speak louder than words. So if our parents are telling us, do better, you need to prepare yourself, you need to educate yourself, go to school, do good, get good grades. I want you to critically think and grow your brain and think what it is they're doing to grow themselves. How are they becoming better people in this society? That's what the vision is. That's what the aim is. As I mentioned, I'm not here to tell you do this or do that. But whatever it is you choose, do it with all your heart. Make sure you love it, that you get up in the morning and you're stoked. You are excited to rock it out and be like, man, I'm excited. Yeah, you might be a little tired in the morning. I'm tired. I'm here because I love doing this. I love speaking to youth. Today, I'm a psychotherapist. What is that? It's a counselor. It's a shrink. It's a therapist. It's somebody that hears you out. I'm not sure if any of you know what that is or ever been to one, but man, it feels good. Here's the thing. If there's some bomb tacos or burgers down the street and somebody told you about it, you would go check it out. You'd be like, where are they at? Let me go try it. It's the same thing with therapy. I didn't understand how yummy it was until I myself had to get one because I was going through some things in my life. I'm a big believer that if you don't try something yourself, how can you recommend it to other people? It helps you understand yourself better, your relationships, but also connect with others. Understanding your emotions will make you more money. Because if money's what you're after, listen up. I'll repeat that. Warren Buffett says, manage your emotions, manage your money. If you know what you're feeling, if you know what's going on in here, you will understand how to keep your coins, how to make more, how to run a business. Because I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to work for someone the rest of my life. I want to create, I want to build with them on my own terms. We are not born just to work and to die. We are born to create whatever it is you want. Here's the thing. We're going to do an activity, and I want you guys to identify what it is you're good at, but also what it is you want to do. Let me explain the difference. You could be really, really good at something, but that's not what you want to do. There's a big difference between a job and a career. A job usually is something you do for money. You exchange your time and your effort and whatever it is you're doing for money. If you do that day in, day out, you're going to get bored. You're going to hate it. This is why you see some people at a job like, hi, I'm going to help you. And they're dead. They're dead inside. I know you guys have seen it. Okay? A career is something different. A career is so yummy. The best way I can explain it is when you're really hungry and you're craving something and it's so bomb in your mind, and then you go and you get it and it's just as bomb in your mouth. You're like, dang, that hit the spot. That is what a career is. And I'm so lucky to tell you that I have that. It's so good. Every day, I am so grateful to go to work and talk to people such as yourselves, the youth in schools, in homes, because it's actually my work. I am bringing my work to my job. That's the key. So now we're going to go into our activity, and I'll have you guys identify what it is you're good at, all right? So the first thing we're going to do is the people we like to work with. And if you've never worked before, I want you to think of projects or collaboration that you've done. In other words, people you like to be around. What type of people are those? Are they funny? Are they chill? Are they smart? What kind of people do you like? So within the flower activity right here, first circle, we want to list the type of people we like to be with. Characteristics. What are they like? Are they funny? Are they quiet? Are they into the same things you are? Make a list. Make a list of the type of people you like to be around and work with. So let's shout out some examples. I like to work with people that are funny because they make my job easier and the day goes by quicker. Anyone else? Yes.
Like-minded people.
Yes, like-minded people. Why is that important?
Because if somebody doesn't have the same mindset as you, their goals are different. So,
Boom. Boom. Exactly. The vision. The vision of what they're seeing. There's this saying that says in Spanish, tell me who you're kicking it with and I'll tell you who you are. That's true. Be careful who you hang around with. Not always, but most of the time. Not always. All right. So moving forward. Let's switch to petal number 1. My favorite knowledges or field of interest. Things that you like. What interests you? Is it film? Is it skating? Is it drawing? Is it cooking? What interests you? And it's the one here in the middle, number 1. This is the most important to study. People tell you to study math, science, reading. But rarely does anybody actually ask you to study yourself. You're stuck with yourself for the rest of your life. Think about that. What do you like? What does it for you? What are you like, man, that's so cool. I want to know more about that. Things that you're naturally drawn to. These are the type of things you need to start asking yourself before you do internship, before you go to a job. Can I deal with people? Do I like people? Do people like me? If not, maybe the computer is more for you, right? Maybe cars. Maybe you don't want to talk to people. You just want to deal with cars all day. That's okay too. Any examples? Anybody want to share what they're into, what they like? Yes?
Sports.
What's that?
Sports.
Sports. Any sport specifically?
Football.
There you go. There you go. Careers with football, sports, people, teamwork. Physical therapist. Coach. People rarely think of other things too, though. How about financial advisor? Do you know what that is? Somebody who manages someone else's money for them. Did you know that a large percent of athletes go broke 3 years after they retire? Did you know that? They don't know how to manage their money. They just spend. They just make it rain. Then they go broke. So there's different career paths that you can work within the industry. Someone else. Another example, because this is what you're here for. You're here to learn. You're here to explore. Anyone else feel strong to volunteer? What they're into? Yeah.
Human psychology.
Yes. Psychology is definitely fun, and I could tell you from my own experience. There's a lot of different areas you can go into with that. More than anything, I'll share this. My own experience is that if you're not naturally curious about people, it might give you a hard time. If you naturally just sit there and observe people and people watch and just be like, that's cool, that's funny, wonder why they tie their shoe to the left instead of the right. That's what makes you a good scientist of humans. Okay, so pedal number 3, what I can do and love to do. What do you love to do? I'll give you a great example. I'm not good at cooking, but I love cooking. I'm learning. So there's a big difference between what it is you do, but what you love to do. There's people that are doctors, but they don't love helping people medically. That's not what they love. What do you love to do? Everyone is good at something. Consider this. Everyone is born, obviously, that's why we're here. And everyone has a purpose. It's your job, nobody else's, to find your passion. What it is that speaks to your heart and what you're passionate about. I'll share this with you. Does anybody like music in here?
Yes.
Yeah, so do I. Any favorite artist? Absolutely. We could drop a couple names, right? But my absolute favorite artist is Lauryn Hill. Anyone familiar with Lauryn Hill? She's a couple years back, but that's okay. I get it. You guys are a young crowd. Here's the thing. Lauryn Hill has so much passion in her work that when you listen to her music, you can feel it. You don't just hear it, you feel it. That's the difference. That's what I'm asking you guys to find for yourself. And I get it. You guys are still in an exploratory stage, but at one point you need to ask yourself these questions. All right, pedal number 4. My favorite working conditions. What do you like? Some people can deal with heat and outside, while others are like, no way, man, I'm staying in the office. I need that air condition, right? Some people like to be outside in the park. Some people like to be in nature. Other people, not so much. What do you like? Do you like music while you work? Or no music? Do you like it just quiet, just let me do what I need to do? What is it that speaks to you? Do you like working around other people your age? Do you like a mix? How about gender? Do you like working with just all people of your same sex or different? All factors to consider. Pedal number 5, my preferred salary range and the level of responsibility I would like. This goes hands in hand. I'll share this with you. Most of the time, not always, okay? The more money you make, the more problems or challenges or responsibilities you will have. It's funny, but it's kind of like the rap song, right? More money, more problems? Yeah? That's right. That's right. So if you understand that, you'll understand how much me time do I want. If you're a boss, a lot of people like to throw that word around like, oh man, I'm a boss, I know what's up. Yeah, but if you're a boss, you're going to be really busy. How much time are you going to have for you? Can you just clock in and clock out and go home? No. If you're a boss, you're probably going to take your work home or be thinking, how can I make this work? How can my employees be better? How can I make this income? Think about that. How much money do you want to make? Here's another analogy for you to consider. Anyone like shopping in here? Yeah. All right. Regardless of what it might be, whether it be for clothes, shoes, a CD, some music, or some food, right? All right. When you go shopping, you already have in mind what you can spend, right? You know what your budget is. So you go to the store or the place according to that price. Employers, people that you will be applying to for internships, have all this in mind as well. You want to have a nice price tag on you. You want to know how much you're worth. If you don't know that number, they're going to lowball you. They're going to be like, nah, maybe I shouldn't hire her later. You need to let them know how much you're worth. Okay? All right. Petal number 6, the last one. My preferred places to live. Where do you want to live? And that's important. How far do you want to live from work? Do you want to spend your entire day on the freeway back and forth? Because traffic is pretty bad, right? Do you want to ride your bike to work? Do you want it to be close enough to where you don't have to wake up that early, you could sleep in some more? They might pay you less options, but hey, it's a trade, right? Where do you want to live? Consider this. The higher the education, the less likely you will live in poverty. And that's a fact, that's a statistic. The more education you get, the less poverty you will have. The hood doesn't change by itself. The hood changes with education. The more things you'll be able to afford or to have options. One day, perhaps, you all in here will have someone to take care of, possibly even children or a partner or a loved one. What do you want for them? Do you want them to be safe walking to school? Do you want to worry about them like, man, like, are they okay? Like, I got to make sure they got there? Probably not. So that's why, get it right, get your education on point. So you can provide for them a place to live where you don't have to worry about that. If they're playing outside, you're like, they're all right, they're good. So now what I'd like to jump into, instead of just speaking to you, is speak with you and have this open conversation. What questions come up? What thoughts? I'm open to it. An open conversation is the most important to have. What came up in doing this activity? What are you learning about yourself? What are you learning?
Learning, like, what I'm really, like, interested in.
Yes. What specifically popped out for you?
Like, I didn't know I was, like, really into food, but now that, like, I noticed that I like it, like, a lot. Like,
Yes.
cooking.
Yes, cooking, absolutely. Anyone else? What stood out in doing this activity? Anyone find out the type of people they like to work with? What stood out for you?
I guess finding people.
Finding?
Found people.
Yeah, yeah. If the world was perfect, what would you do for a living? What would you spend your time doing?
I don't know. Chilling. Shopping. I don't know.
What's that?
Travel the world.
Yes, yes. So maybe you can explore some careers, some paths in that. Travel. How can I get paid to travel? I actually know somebody that travels for free. What they do is they help other people travel more safely, and they show them the spots that they should go to. They travel for free. How cool is that, right? They're never home, but they like it. Yeah. How about over here? What'd you guys learn? What'd you guys take from this?
You need to work with each other in a workplace to actually make improvements in your life.
Yeah, yeah. Your support system is your number one option to create. Nobody gives that to you. What is a support system? That's your A game. That's your team you. Who is there to support you instead of pull you down? Here's the interesting thing. The more and more you mature and you get in tune with yourself and who you are and what you need, you'll realize that people that hate on you or throw salt don't need to be in your life. If you're doing good and they're not happy for you, consider that friendship. Consider that family member. What'd you take? From this whole talk, what'd you get? What interests you? What do you like to do? There you go. Absolutely. So it seems like a lot of people in here actually like activity, movement, being around, being outside, right? Yeah. Excellent. Do you guys have any questions before we end, before we wrap up the Q&A? Any questions at all that you want to ask me? I will leave my card with my info If you guys just want to email me or touch base or be like, yo, what do you think about this? Where do you think I should go for this? I'm looking for an internship in sports, right? A lot of the times, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That's right. It's, oh, I know somebody. They're great, right? That's what it is. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions? Yeah?
What are good ways to say, like, to find yourself or build yourself, like you say? Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, what are good ways to do that?
What are good ways to build yourself as a person?
As a like character? Like your hustle and flow and like who you are?
Yeah.
Great question. That's an excellent question. You know what, man? Genius. So here's the best piece of advice I can give somebody wanting to build character. Mess up. Mess up royally. Make mistakes. Yes, learn from your mistakes. So I'll tell you this. It took me a long time to actually be okay with being human and being in error. It took me a long time not to get down on myself, like, what were you thinking? That's so horrible. Like, what's wrong with you? It took me a long time to get to the place of, okay, I messed up. Now, own it. Be responsible. But what did you learn from that? And in taking that mindset, though, Z, what did you learn? I grew as a person. So now, even like in the morning, if I'm holding, a cup of coffee and I spill it, I'm like, now I know, check the top. Instead of being angry with myself. It's how you speak to yourself. It's the inner voice. I want you guys to consider this in that question. Would you speak to yourself the way that you speak to a friend when you're angry? Yeah, okay. All right. Sure. Absolutely. You'd yell to yourself, but would you yell to somebody the horrible things you tell yourself?
No, like, I'm not saying horrible things, I'm just saying, I just be like, if I was in the mirror, yeah, exactly, if I was in the mirror yelling at myself, I would have been like, what the fuck you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, my bad, like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Like,
So pep talk. Yeah, you're hyping yourself up.
I would have been yelling at myself.
Absolutely. So what that's called is a check-in. You're checking in with yourself like, yo, what's going on? What I'm talking about is more if a friend is really down or messed up, like, man, like I messed up, would you tell them like, yikes, like you're horrible, I can't believe you did that? You would support them more than likely. So that's what you want to do with yourself. Anyone else before we end? Anyone else? Yes?
I have a question, but it's more on the staff side, right?
Sure.
So we serve participants that sometimes have major problems. And I know that as a psychologist or a therapist, you deal with a lot of people with several different problems, right?
Sure.
What do you do so that it doesn't affect you personally, other people's problems?
Myself, personally?
Yes.
So how do I leave it where it belongs and not
Bring it home or
carry it?
affect you, yeah.
Great question. That also took me some time. When I first was a rookie as a psychotherapist, as a counselor, therapist, I would sit in my car and I would cry. I would just cry because it was so heavy, the stories I was hearing or just the challenges. It was tough. It's not easy. But now, years in, what I've realized is self-care. Self-care means anything that you do for yourself that makes you feel good. If it's going home and watching Jerry Springer with some Cheetos, knock yourself out. That's what you need to do. And in having a balanced amount of self-care, that's what will make the difference for you. And that's what's helped me in my career stay balanced, self-care. Yeah. Okay, thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.